Namaste and good morning to all of you. Let's start our Sunday Gita class with the Gita Dhyanam mantras. Om Parthaye Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayan Swayam Vyasen Gratitam Puran Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitam Ritvarshinim Bhagavati Mashtadashadhyayani Am Tvam Anusandhami Bhagavata Gite Bhavadveshine Namo Astute Vyas Vishal Buddhe कुल अरविंद आयत पत्र नेत्र येन तव्या भारत तैल पूर्णः प्रज्वलितो ज्ञान मया प्रदीपः परपान्न पारी जाताये तोत्र वेत्र एक पानये ज्ञान मुद्राये कृष्णाये गीता अमृत दुहे नमः सर्वोपनिषदो गावो दोगदा गोपाल नंदना पार्थो वत्सा सुधीर भोगता दुग्धम गीता अमृतम महत वसुदेव सुतम देवम कंस चानूरमर्दनम देवकी परमानंदम कृष्णम वंदे जगद्गुरुम भीष्म द्रोण तटा जयद्रथ जला गांधार नीलोत्पला शल्य ग्राहवती कृपेन वाहने कर्णेन वेलाकुला अश्वत्थाम विकर्ण घोरमकरा दुर्योधन अवर्तनी सोतीर्णा खलु पांडवैरनदी कवर्तका केशवा पाराशरे वत्सरोजमलम गीता अर्थ गंधोटिकम नानाख्यानक केसरम हरि कथा संबोधन अबोधितम लोके सज्जन षटपदे रह पे पिए मानम मुदा भूयाद भारत पंकजम कलिमल प्रध्वंसी न श्रेयस मूकम करोति वाचालम पंगुम लंघ्यते गिरिम यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानंद माधवम यम ब्रह्म वरुण इंद्र रुद्र मरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्ये स्तवे वेदै संक्रमोपनिषदै गायन्ति यम सामगा ज्ञानवस्थित तद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यम योगिनो यस्यन्तं न विदुषुर असुरगणा देवाय तस्मै नमः. We are towards the end of chapter number 4, Gyan. So Gyan Karam Sannyas Yog, that is the title of chapter number 4 of Bhagavad Gita. And we ended our last week class with verse number 31. So over here is like a conclusion of those 12 yajnas or the offerings or the proper way of living Lord Krishna has mentioned. 12 different kinds of yajnas. Then he says the eaters of the nectar, that means the remnant of the yajna, go to the eternal Brahma. Even this world is not for the non-performer of yajna. How then the other world, O best of the Gurus? So the secret of the yajna, he is trying to tell us that it should be performed for the pleasure of God. And God is where? Everywhere. So all these actions he told us to do, he says, do it for the benefit of others. Live for the others. All day long we do different things. We eat also, we breathe also. Sometimes we need to control our senses. Sometimes we have to use our senses as instruments. We got to learn how to use our mind also. We got to operate in this world. This is do it yajna rupi. So all our actions for the benefit of the others. Then what happens? We get the grace. That is the prasad. That is the remnants. We get the benefit. It's not that we don't get the benefit. We do get the benefit. But our bhavna, our mind should be, our attitude should be, I want to help others as much as I can. Now, towards the end of the last week class, I mentioned there could be two questions in the minds of a serious student. The 12 kinds of yajnas Lord Krishna mentioned, those are like a different paths also can be seen. Do they take us towards the same goal or different goals? And the second question is it Lord Krishna? Is this philosophy he is coming up from his intellect first time? Is it something new? So let's look at the answer to both of these questions in the next verse. Verse number 32. Evam bahu vidha yajna vitata brahmana mukhe karam jan vidhitan sarvan evam gyatva vimokshase. Evam, thus, bahu vidha, manifold, like a various kinds of yajna, sacrifices, vitata, described or spread, brahmana, that means in the Vedas. Brahman, those are the part of the Vedas. Mukhe, through the mouth, or in the face, mukhe. Karam jan, born of action, vidhi no, tan means them, sarvan means all. Evam das, gyatva, having known, vimokshase, you shall be liberated. So Lord Krishna is saying, thus innumerable sacrifices, yajnas, lies spread out in Vedas. So what he's saying that this is not the first time this information, this knowledge has been given to you. It is spread all over, literally at the mouth or the face of the Brahman. Know them all as born of action. And thus knowing, you shall be liberated. So paths are different, but all of them ultimately lead to the same goal. That's what he's telling us. Okay, so various yajnas, you can go back, or if you have already listed them out, keep those in mind all day long. We are doing those yajnas, or at least we are doing those actions. And if we can learn to do them yajna rupi, and these are all, it's a storehouse of all these is Vedas. And when he says it, Karam jan vidhitan sarvan, that means all of these Veda yajnas or sacrifices, they need to be pursued through self-effort. Karam jan. So Arjun is being reminded over here the inevitability of the right action. We are in a Karam yoni, so we have to do the Karam. If you want to move ahead in this cultural self-development. So we got to do our duties, learn how to do our duties, do them as Yajna Rupi, and then you can move ahead. And it also means that these paths are only the means, not the end. It's not that you do this Yajna, you are done with it. No, this is only a means. It's almost like a cooking the food, the means. Ultimately, we have to eat and assimilate that food. One of the beautiful features of the Vedas is that they recognize and cater towards the wide variety of human natures. Different kinds of yajnas. That's why they have been described for different kinds of performers. But the common thread which runs through all of them is that they should be done with devotion as an offering to God. Okay? So when we are eating also, remember God. When we are doing the puja, remember God. When we are doing our duty, remember God. When we are breathing, remember God. Okay, offering to God. So we should not misunderstand that the yajnas is the very goal of life. These are just the paths to the goal. So if you understand this beautifully said, then you shall be free, he says. And this understanding is not just an intellectual apprehension. It is a complete spiritual comprehension. And how does this end? With a subjective experience of reality. So ultimately, we have to experience it. This is what he's telling us. So living a life like this, Yajna Rupi, ultimately experience who you are. That is the goal. Just doing the yajna is not the goal. Doing the yajna is the means. So in other words, he's telling us the Vedas are saying the same thing. All these paths done, if you walk on these paths properly, you will reach at the same goal. So he's answering both the questions for us. Now let's look at number 33. Shreyan dravye mayat yagyat gyan yagya param tap sarvam karam akhilam parth gyane pari samapyate. Shreyan, superior. Dravyam yat, with objects. Yagyat, then sacrifice. Gyan yagya, the knowledge sacrifice. So that means a sacrifice performed in knowledge. Paramatapa, that is Arjun. Sarvam, all. Karam, action. Akhilam, in its entirety. Parth, Arjuna. Gyane, in knowledge. Parisamapyate, is culminated. Superior is Gyan Yajna. Even though he mentioned 12 different kinds of yajna, but in this verse, Lord Krishna is telling us that Gyan Yajna is superior to the Dravya Yajna, the sacrifice with objects. O Param Tap, all actions in their entirety, O Parth, culminate in knowledge. So all sacrifices of work culminate in knowledge. And in essence, what is Gyan Yajna? Gyan Yajna is offering of our ignorance in the fire of knowledge. That means burning the avidya, burning the not knowing in the fire of knowledge. And knowledge is what? Knowledge of who we are in essence. That is the knowledge he is talking about. Or you can say this is like acquiring this kind of a knowledge so that you have experience of this knowledge. So he says this is the noblest and the divinest of all Karam. So he is comparing the Dravya Yajna with the Gyan Yajna. Or he is comparing the Gyan Yajna with the rest of the Yajnas also. And he says it's a nobler and diviner than mere formalistic ritualism with material things, even though they are important. But there's always a comparison. So he says Gyan Yajna is better. And in the second line over here, Sarvam Karam Akhilam Parth Gyane Pari Samapyate. He is telling us how and why he is considering the knowledge of the Gyan Yajna as the superior. Because ritualistic karma or any kind of a karma produces results to enjoy for the individual ego. Because we say we have done this karma and I should have the fruit of it. So karma never ends karma. Therefore, action cannot be a complete fulfillment of itself. Good actions, good karma will give good fruits. Bad karam will give the bad fruits. But that's both are bondages. Like a good karam, they can be considered a gold chains. So if you are bound by a gold chain or an iron chain, you are still bound. So that's the point he's making. But he says, on the other hand, the right knowledge, Gyan, ends all the karmas. Once and for all. Because this deluded ego, which thinks that I am doing it, it's destroyed by the light of the knowledge. And light of the knowledge is I, the Atma, doesn't do anything. So the doership ends. So it is definitely good to do the physical acts of devotion, but not good enough. That's what he's saying. Ritualistic ceremonies, fasts, mantra chanting, going to holy places are all fine. But if they are not performed with the knowledge, the real knowledge, they remain mere physical activities. And these mechanical activities are better than doing nothing at all, but they are not sufficient to purify the mind or to reach the goal. That's the point this great teacher is making for us. Because we already know that when we are ignorant, what happens? Desires erupt. And desires are the seeds from which all actions arise. That's why more the desires, more the actions. And when this ignorance, the primary source of all actions, I am doing it, the source is ignorance, avidya. It ends at the dawn of knowledge. All action naturally get fulfilled. So that's why all actions in its entirety, Lord Krishna says, O Parth, attain its culmination in knowledge. Culmination. So that's why he says, Gyan Yajna is better than the Dravya Yajna. So he's telling us which one is better and why it's better also. There has been a very popular Sant, a poet from India. It's called Sant Kabir or Saint Kabir. Lot of couplets he has written. One of the very famous couplet point takes us towards this. What Lord Krishna is telling us. Mala ferat yug fira. Firan man ka fer. Karka man ka dari ke. Man ka fer. Kar means hand. So this saint is saying, oh spiritual aspirant, you have been rotating the chanting beads for many ages. Mala ferat yug fira. Life after life after life, doing the same thing. But the mischief of the mind has not ceased. Then he suggests in the second line, put these beads down now. Rotate the beads of the mind. The physical activities can take you only so far. Ultimately, we have to purify our mind. We got to make our mind one-pointed, and that can happen with the devotional sentiments only. We got to nourish our mind with the devotional sentiments by the cultivation of the knowledge. So that's why Lord Krishna is telling us this Gyan is so important. Cultivating knowledge of God and our relationship with God. What happens when we know that I am His, He is mine? Just like we sing in the Aarti, to mev mata cha pita to mev, you are everything to me. We start loving Him. So that's why cultivating knowledge of God and our relationship with Him, what happens with that? It nurtures devotional sentiments. Our love for God increases. So that's why Lord Krishna is explaining to Arjuna that yajna performed in knowledge are superior to the sacrifice of the material things. Now, the theme changes a little bit from here. Because if the knowledge is so important, how do we get the knowledge? When we need to have a secular knowledge, somebody wants to become a doctor, goes to a medical school. Wants to become engineer, goes to engineering school. Somebody who wants to become a businessman goes to a business school. And they look for the best in their field. And they work hard for it. Those are all secular studies. But over here, Lord Krishna is talking about the sacred knowledge. It's not a material knowledge. It's a divine knowledge. Where do we get divine knowledge? Where is the school for divine knowledge? Verse number 34. This one verse gives us a very clear indication who can give us this knowledge and how can we acquire this knowledge. Because if knowledge is so important, then we got to make an effort to acquire this knowledge, the divine knowledge. This is one of my favorite verses. It just answers so many questions for us. Tat vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevya upadekshyanti te jnanam jnanina tattva darshina. Tat means that. Vidhi means no. Pranipaten. That means literal translation of this word is by long prostration. So it's almost like a how to approach your spiritual master. Pariprashnen, by question, by humble inquiries. Pariprashnen, keep on asking the questions. Sevya, by rendering service. Updekshyanti, that means upadesh, that means will instruct. That means that Guru will teach you. If you have these qualities met, te means you, jnana means knowledge, jnanina, the wise, the established person in that jnana. A person can give you only what a person has. Tattva darshina, those who have realized the truth. He says, know that by long prostration, by question and seva, service. The wise who have realized the truth will instruct you in that knowledge. So approach a master, inquire from him submissively. If we show our own knowledge that, oh, I know so much, how can you learn? Your cup is already full. And render service to him. The Vedas, they say, Acharyavan Purusho Veda. Only through a guru can you understand the Vedas, the knowledge. Only a guru. And these are the qualifications of a guru in the second line. So this verse very clearly gives us the qualities we need to cultivate first in the first line. Our mental attitude, our intellectual approach should be like this. And prostrating is not just a physical prostration. Student must have an intellectual attitude of a surrender, a meekness, respect, and obedience when he approaches the Guru. This morning, every evening, I read the Yog Mahadivya Ramayana written by my Guruji. I was reading how he approached his Guru. My Guru, how he approached his Guru. When he approached, after getting the Upadesh from him, because all these qualities were there in the Guru also, in the disciple also. He has written, I heard that Om, that mantra from the space 3 times. Then I had the vision of that also. So when these qualifications are met, this is what happens. So we got to cultivate these qualities. We are the students, we are the shishya. We need to cultivate these qualities. Do we have a respect? Do we have a surrender the faith? Are we obedient or not when we approach the teacher? And a student must approach the teacher with the readiness to understand. That hunger has to be there. Hunger to understand, hunger to grasp, and hunger to follow the instructions also. It's not just only listening. It's also follow through. And again, just like a water flows from a higher to a lower level, knowledge can flow only if we know that we know less than the Guru. If we already know that we know more than the Guru, it's not going to work. So that's why I said the meekness, the surrender, that kind of attitude has to be there. Spirit of prostration means this. And my question means just asking the question. That telling the Guru, I have a doubt. The way we ask the question also, it's not we are testing the Guru. Sometimes we ask the question in the spirit of testing the Guru. How much Guru knows? No. My Guruji used to give the example because in those times there used to be wells in the cities also, in the villages also. He used to say the way the water is taken out of the well, you dip the bucket into the water and you know there's a water. You just only dip the bucket and then pull it out. The more times you dip that bucket, the more water will come out. So the same way we ask a question, we have a full faith that Guru knows. We don't know yet. So we are not asking the ability or the qualification of a Guru. We are not questioning that. We are just saying that I don't understand. Can you explain it to me? So that means when we ask a question, there should be a devotion, there should be a respect, there should be a reverence, there should be admiration for the Guru. Only then this will work. Then the third qualification of a student is by service. The secular education does not require these qualifications as such, like a deep respect for the teacher. Because transmission of the knowledge can be purchased simply by paying the fees, buying the books. However, the spiritual education is not imparted to the student by a mechanical teaching process. It cannot be purchased. That's why there's no price tag on it. It is revealed in the heart of the disciple by the Guru's grace. When the disciple develops humility and the Guru is pleased with the disciple, it just happens. It cannot be bought. Okay? It can be only caught in the company of the Guru. Actually, it cannot be even taught. So it cannot be bought, it cannot be taught. It can be only caught. And in order to catch, we got to be in the proximity of the Guru. Not just physically, mentally also. And this is what that seva is. By service. Sometimes we think offering the flowers, offering the food, that constitutes seva. Sure, that is like how we show our love to the Guru. But in essence, the true seva is we do what Guru tells us to do. That means living a life indicated by the rishis is the greatest seva. Guru says don't cheat. Guru says don't lie. Guru says cultivate love, devotion. Live a disciplined life. That is a seva. When a Guru finds this kind of a student, then Guru will advise, Guru will instruct, Guru will put the student on the path of knowledge. And this is what's given in the second line. So that's why in the second line, the qualifications which are essential for a Guru. So first line, 3 qualifications for a student. Second line, 2 qualifications for a Guru. Who is a Guru? Who has a perfect knowledge of the scriptural literature. The knowledge has to be there. And the second, complete subjective experience of the infinite reality. Each without the other is totally useless. Now we say, how do we know? Because we don't have this subjective experience. Subjective experience, the Sanskrit word is Tattvadarshina. We are not Tattvadarshi yet. How do we know Guru is Tattvadarshi? So that's why we got to just work on our qualifications. And pray to God that bring this kind of a Guru in our life. And then we have this kind of a Guru in our life, you will feel it. Once you have a Guru, Satguru in your life, that is for the rest of the journey, not just this life alone, future lives also. That's how it works. Okay, so now you can see that why this is one of my favorite verse, because this verse really clearly tells us what to do. Know that by long prostration, by question and service, the wise who have realized the truth will instruct you in that knowledge. Because the knowledge which is so important for us. Let's do one more verse. Yat gyatva da punarmoham evam yasyasi pandav yena bhutane ashashena drakshyasi atmani athome. Yat means which, gyatva having known, na means not, punar again, moham delusion. Evam thus yasyasi will get, Pandav, that is for Arjun, yen by this, bhutani beings, ashashen all. Drakshyasi, you see, atmani in yourself. Atho means also, May means in me. Knowing that. Knowing that means the knowledge which that Guru will give you. That Upadesh of the Guru. You shall not, O Pandav, again get deluded like this. Because Arjun got deluded. Now Lord Krishna is saying, once you have a Guru like this knowledge, not just only in this life, he means the future lives also. This knowledge travels with us. Because this knowledge is, where is the knowledge going? In the subtle body. In the buddhi also, in the chit also, in the man also. And then mad buddhi chit ahankar, it travels with us. So he says, knowing that you shall not, O Pandav, again get deluded like this. And by that means by that knowledge, you shall see all beings in yourself. And also in me. So this is the knowledge Guru is giving. This is the subjective experience that we are all one. God is everywhere. Otherwise, there's a pain, there's an agitation, there's a trouble when we think that I am better or I am lesser than others. He says we are all same. So after our this journey in this lifetime, in this body, in the future also, this knowledge will stay with us. This ignorance, as much as we remove, will stay removed. So this doubt is fully cleared here by a very assertive, very confident declaration that after regaining this knowledge, you shall not get deluded like this. Just remember this. Because sometimes we think we are so old. Why didn't we learn it earlier? Hey, at least we are learning it now. Do the sadhana now. Whatever sadhana we are doing, it's going with us. Those who have realized God always remain in God consciousness. That divine knowledge, which comes with enlightenment, changes our perspective and vision of the world. That's why some little children, when they are born, they have this knowledge because they brought it with them. Those are called enlightened beings. Enlightened beings. They never forget. And if we work hard, we do our sadhana diligently, we will carry this with us in the future births also. So we got to accept this truth with faith. And this is what he's going to tell us in the next couple of verses, that how important this faith is. Because right now we don't have that knowledge. We don't see God everywhere. But if we just remember this, these are the words of God. Have faith in it. Keep on purifying our mind. Then it will definitely culminate into this. Okay, we got to do just our part. Knowledge has the power to purify, elevate, and liberate. Knowledge. And knowledge is the one which will unite us with God. This kind of a knowledge. But that's why we have to make a distinction between a theoretical knowledge and experienced knowledge. Theoretical knowledge is just like memorizing the recipe from a cookbook. That's a theoretical knowledge. It will not fill your stomach. Experienced knowledge is when you cook and eat also. So that's why, sure, this is important what we are learning. Because if we don't know what to cook, how to cook, what to buy, we cannot go there. So the same way, when we study something like this, we are learning what to do, but then we got to do our sadhana. But today we learned how important the knowledge is, the sacred knowledge, the divine knowledge, the godly knowledge. Okay, so understanding and then doing the sadhana for it is, that's our goal as students. Om Purnamada Purnam Idam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnam Adaya Purnameva Vishishyate. Om Shanti 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 Om. Thank you very much.